Everyone says Levi made the right choice when he chose Armin over Erwin. They call it mercy. They call it hope. They call it the moment humanity chose its future over its past. But what if that choice wasn't mercy at all? What if it was hesitation? The 1 second of doubt that cost humanity its strongest weapon. Levi stood over two dying soldiers in Shiganshina. One was a boy who dreamed of seeing the ocean. The other was a commander who had already buried his dreams beneath mountains of corpses. Armin represented possibility. Erwin represented certainty. And when Levi chose Armin, he chose the unknown over the proven devil who had carried humanity to every major victory. But imagine a world where Levi doesn't hesitate. A world where he injects Erwin without listening to Eren's screams or Mikasa's desperation. A world where the man capable of outplaying the entire globe survives. Because if Erwin Smith inherits the Colossal Titan, the story of Attack on Titan doesn't end in chaotic tragedy. It ends in calculated domination. And that difference changes everything. In this timeline, Levi does not pause. He does not remember Kenny's words about dreams. He does not look into Erwin's exhausted eyes and see a man who deserves rest. Instead, he sees a commander who is still needed. The syringe enters Erwin's arm without ceremony, and within moments his body begins to convulse as Titan serum spreads through his veins. Erwin transforms, devours Bertolt, and collapses. When he awakens hours later, his missing arm has regenerated, and the Colossal Titan now belongs to him. The first thing he learns is that Armin is dead. There is no dramatic reaction, no breakdown, only silence. Erwin understands immediately what Levi did. He understands the cost, and he accepts it without protest. Eren is shattered. Mikasa is furious. The emotional fracture between them and Levi deepens. But even in their grief, something changes. The strongest mind humanity has ever produced is still alive. The commander who predicted enemy movements, orchestrated impossible victories, and turned suicidal charges into strategic triumphs now holds the most destructive Titan power in existence. Armin would have inherited the Colossal Titan with hesitation and doubt. Erwin inherits it with clarity. He does not see it as a burden. He sees it as leverage. When the scouts reach the Yeager basement, the weight of history hangs in the air. This was Erwin's dream. The truth beyond the walls was the obsession that defined his life. In the original timeline, he never got to see it. Here, he is the one who unlocks the drawer and retrieves Grisha's notebooks with steady hands. As he reads about Marley, the Great Titan War, and the oppression of Eldians, something becomes clear immediately. Humanity inside the walls is not the last remnant of civilization. They are a weapon abandoned by history. The enemy is not Titans. It is a nation, a military superpower, a world that already sees Paradis as a threat that must be erased. Armin would have been overwhelmed by the scale of it. He would have thought about diplomacy, about understanding both sides. Erwin thinks in terms of timing. Marley will return. They failed to retrieve the founding Titan. That failure guarantees a second attempt, and this time, they will not send children. They will send fleets. When Erwin closes the notebook, he does not smile. His father was right. The truth exists, but truth does not bring peace. It demands action. And from this moment forward, the Survey Corps is no longer an exploration force. It becomes an army preparing for global war. Not long after Yelena and the anti-Marleyan volunteers arrive on Paradis, the situation looks almost identical to the original timeline. They offer technology, intelligence, weapons. They claim Zeke wants to save Eldia. Many in the military see opportunity. Others see betrayal waiting to happen. Erwin sees both. He understands immediately that Zeke's arrival is not generosity. It is positioning. Zeke needs contact with Eren to activate the founding Titan. Without Paradis, his plan is meaningless. That means Zeke is not negotiating from strength. He is negotiating from necessity. And Erwin exploits that imbalance. Zeke's euthanasia plan is revealed, promising a peaceful extinction of the Eldian race. In the original timeline, this idea fractures the leadership. In this timeline, Erwin dismantles it with ruthless clarity. Extinction is not mercy. It is surrender disguised as morality. Erwin did not sacrifice thousands of soldiers to end his people's existence quietly, but he also does not rush into using the rumbling. Unlike Eren, Erwin understands that an early rumbling would unite the entire world against Paradis instantly. Power must be revealed at the right moment. Until then, it is a deterrent, not a weapon. And this is where the timeline begins to diverge dramatically. Marley is already engaged in a brutal conflict with the Mideast Alliance. In the original timeline, Paradis waits. They observe, they hesitate. Erwin does not. He recognizes that Marley is overextended. Their military resources are divided, their Titan shifters are deployed. Instead of isolating themselves, Erwin drafts a preemptive strike plan. Not reckless infiltration like Eren's later solo attack, but coordinated military intervention. With intelligence from the volunteers and Hizuru's technology, the scouts prepare for a surgical assault on Marley's warrior unit while they are distracted. The goal is simple and devastating. Eliminate or capture the armored, jaw, and cart titans during Marley's weakest moment. If successful, Marley loses its greatest military assets overnight. The world sees that the devils of Paradis are not mindless monsters. They are a strategic power capable of reshaping global balance. This is where Erwin proves morally superior. He does not want genocide. He wants deterrence through dominance. A world where Paradis is too dangerous to invade. A world where Titan power is consolidated under disciplined leadership, not emotional impulse. And for a brief moment, it works. Erwin's preemptive strike during Marley's war does not end in chaos. It ends in control. The Survey Corps executes a coordinated assault on Liberio while Marley's forces are distracted at the front lines. This time, the attack is not driven by emotion or revenge. It is calculated to cripple Marley's military structure in a single night. The Armored Titan falls. The Jaw Titan is captured. The Cart Titan is neutralized. Even the Warhammer Titan is secured under tightly controlled conditions. For the first time in history, the majority of Titan power is consolidated under disciplined leadership on Paradis Island. Eren retains the attack and founding Titans. Erwin now controls the Colossal Titan and commands the military. The remaining powers are distributed strategically among loyal soldiers, not impulsive candidates. Titan inheritance becomes regulated, planned, and weaponized with long-term vision. Paradis is no longer reacting to the world. It is shaping it. News of Marley's collapse spreads quickly. Without their warrior unit dominance, their global intimidation fades. Other nations begin reconsidering their position. Some still hate Eldians. But fear begins to outweigh hatred. Paradis is no longer a trapped island of devils. It is a nuclear state. And for the first time, the world hesitates. At first, Eren supports Erwin's strategy. Marley has been struck. The world has been shown the cost of aggression. For a moment, it appears that deterrence might be enough. But as intelligence reports come in, something becomes clear. The world does not forgive. It reorganizes. Nations begin forming alliances. Weapon technology advances faster. Anti-Titan artillery becomes a priority. The fear of Paradis evolves into urgency. And Eren sees what Erwin refuses to accept. Fear only delays retaliation. It does not eliminate it. This is where their philosophies fracture. Erwin believes in control through balance. He believes that if Paradis becomes indispensable, politically, economically, and militarily, the world can be managed. He is willing to walk the edge of war indefinitely if it preserves long-term stability. Eren does not believe in indefinite tension. He believes in finality. To Eren, as long as even one nation fears Eldians, the threat remains. As long as children inherit Titans to maintain deterrence, the cycle continues. Erwin seeks victory through dominance. Eren seeks freedom through elimination. And that difference becomes irreversible. Zeke's role becomes more complicated in this timeline. With Erwin alive, Zeke is never fully trusted. Every meeting is monitored. Every movement is calculated. But eventually, the necessity of activating the founding Titan arises. The rumbling remains the ultimate deterrent. and the world is preparing for war again. Eren approaches Zeke under controlled circumstances. This time, there is no chaos of betrayal in the forest, no wine contamination, no sudden massacre. The contact happens strategically. Inside the paths, history unfolds as it did before. Grisha's memories, the manipulation, the revelation of Ymir's suffering. Zeke attempts to push his euthanasia plan, but Eren, as always, chooses his own path. The difference now is timing. Instead of activating the rumbling out of desperation, Eren activates it out of inevitability. When the Wall Titans begin marching, it is not because Paradis is losing. It is because Eren has decided that deterrence will never be enough. When the rumbling begins, Erwin does not freeze in shock. He understands immediately what Eren has done. This is not panic. This is not miscalculation. This is deliberate genocide. And for the first time, Erwin's strategy has been bypassed entirely. He assembles the remaining Titan shifters. He rallies the military. He does not defend the world because he loves it. He defends it because genocide destroys legitimacy. A nation built on total annihilation cannot coexist, even in victory. The battle between Erwin and Eren becomes ideological as much as physical. Erwin fights to preserve a controlled world order. Eren fights to erase it entirely. Even with consolidated Titan power, even with discipline and preparation, Erwin cannot match the founding Titan's full authority once Ymir chooses Eren. The scale is overwhelming. The Wall Titans flatten continents. Nations fall in weeks. Humanity outside Paradis collapses. In the end, the confrontation mirrors the original, but the emotional weight shifts. Mikasa still makes the final choice. Eren still dies. The Titan curse still ends. But this time, there is a haunting difference. If Erwin had been the one guiding the future from the beginning, perhaps genocide would never have been necessary. Or perhaps it was inevitable all along. And that is the cruel truth. Even when Levi chooses the stronger leader, humanity may still choose the devil. In this alternate timeline, Levi chooses the stronger commander. He chooses experience over potential, certainty over hope. And for a time, that choice reshapes the world. Marley falls faster. The Titans are consolidated. Paradis becomes a global power under disciplined leadership. For a brief moment, it truly feels like Erwin was the better option. But strength cannot erase ideology. Even with Erwin alive, even with superior strategy and controlled dominance, one variable remains impossible to contain: Eren Yeager. Because the conflict at the heart of Attack on Titan was never just about Titans. It was about freedom. And freedom, when taken to its absolute extreme, does not compromise. It does not negotiate. It does not settle for balance. Erwin sought a world that could be managed through intelligence and leverage. Eren sought a world without enemies. One believed in calculated survival. The other believed in irreversible liberation. And when those two philosophies collide, the outcome is always going to be catastrophic. So maybe Levi didn't choose wrong. Maybe there was never a right choice. Because whether it was Armin's hope or Erwin's dominance guiding Paradis, the world outside the walls was always marching toward confrontation. And the cruelest part of all? Even when humanity chooses its strongest leader, it still may not be strong enough to escape its own nature. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to our channel for more Attack on Titan content. See you in the next video.